Welcome to the Self Reality Podcast, a show where we like to talk all things reality TV, the good, the bad, and everything in between, and all of our feelings about them. I'm your host, Angie, and I'm here today to talk Survivor. We're on season 49, episode 9. But before I get right into it, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'd really, really, really appreciate it. And to everybody else who has been watching and subscribing, thank you so much. So let's get into this episode. As we know, I like to start with the aftermath. So last week there was a very surprising vote out of MC. I think it was partially bad luck in terms of how she played the week before, where she used her immunity idol. Nick and I talked about that last week. She used it when kind of displayed that she didn't trust her newly formed alliance or her alliance members. And I think she also was a very, very strong physical threat. She actually was quite perceptive as well. I just think she made a few poor game moves. So she's voted out last week. And the aftermath is again, if you recall, it was a split team. So I think you had 4 people sitting at the beach who all kind of de facto got immunity. And then there was a group of 4 or 5 that went for 6, actually, because Savannah got to go join them as well. They had to vote out of the 5 who lost the challenge that week. I think it was originally the intent was to get rid of Rizzo, which would have been the smart move, or at least it would flush out the idol. But once again, panic ensued. They voted out MC. They were looking at putting Sophie as sort of the backup plan. She caught wind of it and just all hell broke loose. And then that left the sort of a little narrow opening, and there goes MC. So at camp, they go back to camp, and once everyone realizes MC's gone home, because they're all expecting it to be either Rizzo or Sophie, everyone is just shocked, particularly Christina. She was very close with MC, but everyone's shocked. Everyone is expecting Rizzo has gone home or Sophie to be the backup, and it's palpable. Sophie picks it up. Sophie actually calls it out. I have to give her credit for just calling it out, like, hey, this is kind of weird. You guys seem really shocked that I'm here and someone else got voted out. I mean, what a crappy feeling that would be, because she wasn't aware. I don't think she was quite aware that everyone was gunning for her, or to the extent that they were gunning for her, that they would have picked MC over her every day of the week. I think that stung a little bit, and I think that has kind of flipped the trajectory of how this game is going to move forward in a way, because she was part of sort of that heavy, I think it was the Hina alliance, with the inclusion of Sage and Jawan. And now she considers herself a free agent. Totally get that. Fair enough. I mean, if everyone's coming after you, and this is where Savannah is very, very sharp, a little bit crazy eyed, but very sharp, and she's going to swoop in and try and pull her on side. Very good move. So it's super awkward at tribal, but I think Nick and I talked about it last week. That makes sense. You know, you're voting people out. There's blindsides happening. It's always going to be awkward. It just happened. And the folks who weren't even at the vote didn't even have the walk back to the camp to sort of get used to the idea or to process some of their emotions. So Savannah takes her aside, or tells Soph, I'm getting them confused now, who's already her alliance, that she has the extra vote now. So Rizzo, Savannah, and Soph, although they are very short on numbers, they are definitely, in terms of having extra things like advantages, they are doing really well. Rizzo has the idol still, which everybody knows about, but he's kind of, I don't know if it's intentional, because he's kind of a little over cocky and dumb in some ways, or whatever, but he is just using it to his advantage. You have Savannah, who now has an extra vote, which basically almost gives them a try before if you're looking at voting blocks. And then you have Soph, who has that knowledge is power. So once she figures out who has the other idol, and I'm forgetting who it is, she can get that if she needs to. Now, Rizzo's thinking he's the mastermind on MC going home. And at first I'm like, is he? Because his cockiness, and I think he's missing the plot in some ways, but he is managing to stumble his way through using strategy. But I think there are other things going on. Or maybe I just don't want to give the dude credit, and he deserves it. Either way, what do you guys think about that? I'm not sure. So you have Steven, I think he was pretty close with MC. I can't remember, but now he's cozying up the stage. He tells her, this is who has the idol. It's Christina who has the idol. So I don't think Soph knows about that. He tells her Christina found the idol. He sort of wants to resurge the old bottoms up alliance, which was him, Sage, and Jawan, if memory serves. Then we have Savannah and Soph. They're going to pull Sophie in. And again, as I mentioned, very smart. They're going to stoke the fire. Like, yeah, they were totally surprised that you were back. And I think they probably did want to vote you out. And Savannah was there so she can say, oh, yeah, your name was thrown out, which it was. But I mean, if I remember correctly, I think Sophie also said Jawan's name and to MC. It's all getting muddied because it was a very highly strategic week last week. And then now you have Alex very, very, very obviously playing both sides. And that hence the name of this episode, actually, which is called If You're Loyal to All, You're Loyal to None. Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. See, I was kind of downplaying Rizzo, but I mean, he's picking that up. He's picking up that Alex is like messy. He's playing both sides of the teams. He's saying he's getting information and he's sharing it between them, and it's just causing absolute chaos. And he's still not sure where he wants to land. Frankly, he should have landed somewhere already because it's going to be problematic for him since Rizzo sees it. I think Rizzo might talk to Sage at a certain point here, and Sage figures it. Like, once people figure it out, you're toast. Like, you can't just keep floating back and forth. If he was a floater, I guess this is the new form of floaters, I guess, right? He is floating between the two teams, but are you a floater if they all know? Not sure. I think it's time to draw a line in the sand. So now we're at the challenge. It's a reward challenge. The reward is fried chicken, fries, pop, cheesecake, lemonade. Have you noticed? I mean, have they had any alcohol this season? Maybe like they're just not allowed or people are getting sick from it. I'm just curious. There's no alcohol, and that was kind of fun sometimes when people would get a little bit tipsy. But I like the rewards too because it's usually in teams, so you kind of see a different dynamic group of people together, and it can move things along a little bit. So in this case, we have two teams of 4, even though there's 9 players left, and then the 9th person gets to pick which team to align with, and if that team wins, they go with them for the food. If that team loses, they don't get any food. So it's a schoolyard pick. On team 1, the captain's Christina. She chooses Sophie, Alex, and Savannah. And then on team 2, the captain is Rizzo. He chooses Stephen, Jawan, and Sage. And then Soph picks the Rizzo, Stephen, Jawan, and Sage team. So the challenge is they have to roll. It's a lot of moving of heavy things. They roll this big, huge metal cube. Someone has to climb up on the cube, knock some sandbags down. And then after they get the sand, they have to use the sandbags then to knock 3 rings off this very high pole, and then basically they have to keep throwing these 3 rings up until each of them lands on that pole. Pretty difficult, but not as crazy as some challenges. And the winners are Christina, Sophie, Alex, and Savannah. They win. I think the most interesting part of this challenge is at the end. We find out that Jawan has literally had no food in terms of any reward, any special things. He has not had at one time, and it sounds like everyone else has. And Christina actually offers up her space. Jawan says no, no, no at first, and then you kind of hear about why his dad died when he was young. He's used to taking care of others. Christina says she's offering it because of that, because Jawan's always at camp, cracking open coconuts, even if he's exhausted, even if he's had no food this whole time. So she really feels for him. So for me, it was quite emotional because I really think Christina was offering it out of kindness and not out of any kind of gameplay or strategy. I really don't think this was a strategic move. I think she just sees him taking care of everyone. And I think she's a mother too and wants to help take care of him. So despite the fact that he struggles at first, he was going to say no. Everyone encourages him. He says yes. So it was in the midst of the constant chaos we've had over the past few episodes, it was a nice, sweet moment. And then it's food time, and that's where he kind of tells us a story. So that was very nice and heartwarming. I did find it interesting that at food time, Sophie's talking about being at the bottom. I'm thinking, dude, why are you telling Jawan this? Jawan and Sage are the ones who kind of put you there, but maybe she's processing and figuring it out, even though she knows she's at the bottom. I guess it's like, do you not see that who put you there? So she's still a little unaware, which is kind of dangerous because a little bit of knowledge, is a bit of a dangerous thing. But then Jawan, like, who I have to say is a master at kind of this manipulation. I think he's got this really kind, gentle, taking care of his family side. And then he's got this cutthroat, and I guess maybe part of it is to with the thought of taking care of his family in the future. Like he calls himself, what did he say? The King Shark, and there's Jaws music. So he's there with Sophie, oh my God, I'm at the bottom. And he's like, hey, at this point in the game, I'm open to everything and anything, which is bull. He is heavily aligned with Sage. I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. Although I don't know, next week it's show some surprise people, so maybe things flip. So that was it for the food eaten. And then we're back at camp. You have Christina and Sage who both just cannot stand Savannah. And I think Christina kind of nailed it for me because I don't like her. Like, I like her on TV. I think she's an interesting game player. I think she creates a lot of havoc. I think her level of intensity brings an interesting dynamic to camp, and it sort of fuels some of that paranoia and freneticism. We've also heard sort of, not sort of, we've heard part of her sad story about her job and feeling left out and excluded, which I really a lot like I really feel that too. But it's the mean girl vibe that she gives, and that's what Christina said, and I tend to agree. I think that's why I have a harder time having sympathy, empathy for her versus a Sage who is very hardcore, like cutthroat at this point, very intelligent, but I think she just demonstrates, at least on the surface, more humility and less sort of mean girl. And who knows, maybe is that fake? Are these all sort of defense mechanisms? Maybe, but just from a vibe perspective, I prefer Sage to Savannah's vibe. But Savannah, is again great TV. She's very intelligent, a very good strategist. So I'm curious to see where this all goes. And you'll find out soon. She's a hardcore like game player too, like challenges. Like she's got it all. She's got it all. So Christina tells Soph that she's voting Rizzo than Sav, like Savannah. Sorry, I wrote Savannah. Savannah, that's who she wants to get rid of to get Rizzo to use the idol. I think this is a mistake because it's like, Christina, are you not seeing Soph? Soph is still playing a really good, like, both sides, but not being seen as playing both sides in a way that people see Alex playing both sides and they see him as a floater. She has the other side thinking she's sort of aligned with them, and she's not. She's very clearly aligned with Rizzo and Savannah, and the fact that Christina told her, I was like, I think this is a mistake. They're going to be able to flip it. So Savannah does end up revealing to Soph, her big secret that she was an on air reporter and yada yada yada, which just further solidifies their alliance. Fine, whatever. Now Rizzo wants Alex gone, which I don't think is a terrible thought, honestly, because Alex is playing both sides and wreaking havoc, and I'm not seeing a strong strategy from him, a clear strategy. Like, I think it was to play both sides, but I'm never trusting he aligns one side or another. And I really do think at a certain point you have to decide, or you're just gonna be always running around crazily. I don't know. Again, I don't like this. Again, if he was playing both sides, like Soph isn't playing both sides, but looks like she is. Like, they both think she's aligned with them and it's not obvious. He's not landing on anything. It's too messy. So Rizzo wants Alex gone, and he tells this to Sophie. He tells Sophie, Sage, and Jawan. So he's planting those seeds, and this is where Rizzo is really shining, in that he's telling kind of part truths, or truths with elaboration or exaggeration. He's exaggerating on what Alex is saying. He's like, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's true enough. So he's telling them all this other things. And I think this may be sort of a foreboding. So we're at the challenge. So they're going to have 2 idols available to another endurance challenge. It's one for the last man standing, and the one for the last woman standing. Essentially, they have to sit on like just a board, and it's almost like a Pilates move or a yoga move or something. They have to have their feet up holding a disc for the first, I don't know, 15 minutes or whatever. They get to they can hold their legs, they can hold the structure, what have you. And after that, they can't hold anything. So they're basically keeping their whole body up and their feet up and holding that thing. So it goes Rizzo drops. This is the order of drops. So Rizzo drops out, Christina, Sage, Alex, Soph, Jawan, and then Sophie. So the winners are Steven wins for the men and Savannah wins. And it was a showdown between Savannah, like at the very end, because Steven drops out because he's the last one in the men. It's between Savannah and Sophie, and they fought it till the end because I think they both feel the fear, and Savannah ends up winning. And I'm just thinking, you should have got Savannah out when you had a chance. Like, this woman can also like hardcore play challenge, like do challenges as well as wreak havoc, create chaos, strategize. So I guess we'll see. So the plan is Rizzo on the heavier, like the alliance with more people, with Soph as the backup. And I'm just wondering at this point, because Sophie, this is assuming Sophie is still with them. Like, where is Sophie actually landing? And then Rizzo thinks it's Alex going home. And I think it was interesting editing because I really wasn't sure what was going on. Jawan does tell Alex that Rizzo is throwing his name. Alex tells Sophie, and now he wants Rizzo gone. Like, it's just, I really, and then it says they kind of show Sage considering getting Alex out. So I think there was probably more to like them deciding to get rid of Alex than what was necessarily shown, because he ends up going home and it's pretty landslidey. So tribal, I think they should. So first of all, I just want to be on the record as saying, I think they should have tried to get Rizzo out. Why not make Alex the backup or some shit? I don't know, because Rizzo still has that idol. Like, how are we not flushing an idol? I just don't understand how we're not flushing an idol. But anyway, I digress. I found Tribal extraordinarily boring, and maybe it's because last week we had people getting up and talking and saying stuff and what have you. This week it's just a whole lot of jibber jabber about nothing, right? It's a scramble. There's chefs in the kitchen. It's fluidity and blah, blah, Soph wants people to wake up. Rizzo talks. I don't even know what I said here. It doesn't even matter. Steven has a space metaphor. I mean, there's nothing overt stated. It's all under the radar. Like, do you know what? Do you know what they need? They need like some sort of, the word is escaping me, but a twist for Tribal, so Tribal can be more interesting. But anyway, so kind of a boring Tribal, but the votes are interesting. So basically it's Soph. She gets 2 votes. You've got Rizzo getting 1 vote. So I'm going to assume Alex put that on, and then Alex gets the rest of the vote. Rizzo doesn't use his idol. So that's why I feel like it was more of a foregone conclusion that Alex was going home. But what I found peculiar is why the 2 votes on Soph? Like, did they leave people out of the vote? And if they did, why? So it was Christina and Steven, because I watched at the end, who voted for Soph. So I feel like, was it just in case they thought that Rizzo would use the idol for Alex? I don't understand. Anyway, at the end of the day, Alex went home. He was a super good sport about it. Basically said, I get it. I was on both, I played both sides. Like, he said it going out, not really I would argue that wasn't really a huge blind side, because I think Alex waited a little too long to kind of land a side. Anyway, this episode was hopefully building to something else. It's probably one of my least favorite episodes of this season, because it was just felt like a whole lot of nothing. Again, the highlight was, I thought it was a nice human moment when Christina gave the fried chicken, and kind of forego, whatever it is. Didn't have it for herself, let's say that. I still think Rizzo being able to hold on to that idol, I mean, that alone, if he gets to the end, is a really strong move. Like, him being able to kind of feed this data to everybody is super interesting. Like, sort of feed and stoke fires. He does really well. And you put him together with Savannah, and they're just, they're killing it. They really honestly have a strong alliance. Like, and you have Soph, who's like really good at like, oh, I'm just everybody's friend, and what have you. So I don't know, if someone doesn't do something to get like Rizzo or Savannah out, or even Soph. I think Rizzo or Savannah are slightly stronger, but I mean, Soph's a bit of a ninja. They're gonna just take it over. So anyway, we'll see what happens next week. It looks like there's some shocking whatever, but you never know. Again, editing, they make it look good or more interesting than maybe it is. So anyway, that's all I have for this week. As usual, thank you everybody for watching the show, for listening to the pod. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, do all the things, and I will catch you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.